Welcome back to ZMS Esports Studio, your home for all things virtual cycling and virtual racing. You're joined today once again by me, your host Mark, as we look once again at indieVelo, but with something a little different today. James, the guy behind Love Triple T on Wahoo RGT, is deciding to trial Love Triple T on indieVelo today. So without further ado, where are we going to be racing today? Well, we are going to be taking on indieVelo's unique and proprietary coastal loop track. It's 16.9 kilometer total distance. There's a 1 kilometer lead in, and there's 42 meters cumulative climbing. So not very much climbing today, a relative flat, as we've looked at before with Triple T, with Team Time Trial. Actually, those flats can make things pretty difficult because that means it's continuous effort. You don't get to have that reprieve on those downhills. So without any further ado, let's jump on over to those start lines and see our teams preparing. So who do we have today? We've got NZ Bro, of course, from New Zealand. We've got NZ Bro Wahine Toa, which is Māori. For Fierce Ladies, we've got OG Ladies and Hungarian Indoor Cycling. We can see them all there getting their wattages ready to go. Ready to make a solid push off that start line. And we've got just under 1 minute left to go. So we've got NZ Bro there. Looks like they've got 5 contenders ready to go in the all genders team. And then we've got OG Ladies. They have got 5 riders as well. And it looks like for Wahine Toa that they have, let's have a look, 7. Wow, that's quite a good spread for the female only team. And Indoor Cycling, so we have 4 riders. All right, and we are fresh out of the gates. We're burning some tarmac already. So really strong push there from Wahine Toa. You could say that I'm a fan of mythology, global mythology, so you could say that they're riding with the ferocity of Taume Tauanga, the Māori god of war. And NZ Bro, we've got a strong lead on the front there. Who is that? Wayne Millo. Beginning to regroup into a bit of a pace line there to get that good draft benefit going, but look at that power there coming out of the speed, I should say, sorry, for Wayne Millo. Almost 38 kilometers per hour on a relative flat. That's certainly nothing to be sniffed at there. OG Ladies, what have we got here? Oh, breaking 42 almost across the board here. Anna Russell. I'm struggling to tell if that's Australia, an Australian flag, or New Zealand. And we've got quite a diversity of the English-speaking world at least. And Anna will appear in 2 teams today. Oh, so that will be the New Zealand flag. She's also in Wahine Toa. And we've got Emma Porter pulling on the front there, 38. Some solid speed there. Formed quite a good peloton, not quite a pace line, but a good peloton nonetheless. And Emma is certainly pulling out a good clip on the front there. So Triple T, I know I mention this every time, and it's probably boring if you watch this every time, but if this is your first time watching, if you're new to the world of road cycling and cycling in general, I should let you know that Triple T is shorthand for Team Time Trial. The rules that will be observed today are the same as both Olympic and UCI velodrome rules. So third rider over the line is cumulative time. That's why all teams that you'll see today are minimum 3 riders. And my apologies, I meant to say that Hungarian IC is actually 3 riders. So let's take a look at what we've got going on here. So we're quite stretched out on NZ Bro there. Hungarian is our closest to having a pace line here, although Wahine Toa is beginning to reform into a very strong pace line here. They certainly are living up to the name there. Fierce ladies indeed. NZ Bro are beginning to pick up some quite fierce speed there, just about breaking 40 k's per hour. Again, you've got to remember that this is a relative flat. You can see those 42s and 41s all day long at the start of a relative flat, but it's once that effort begins to become sustained, which it's going to be sustained all the way across today's course, being again flat, that we begin to see those peaks drop down to where they're going to plateau for presumably the majority of the ride. Also, undoubtedly, we have some very strong cyclists on course today who are beginning to get to a point where they're feeling where they should be tempering their effort, feeling where they should be around about at that 80-85% rather than 100. So holding something back, and I'm hoping they're going to get me very excited, because as you know, I get very excited by those finish line sprints. So I'm hoping that I will need to take a cold shower afterwards. So we have NZ Bro, Wahine Toa. Again, that pace line looking pretty good right now. NZ Bro reforming into a good pace line too. Again, there's something in the water down there in the Southern Hemisphere. They're doing it right. So we're seeing a lot of power, a lot of reflected in speed, let's say, through the metrics we can see in indieVelo. And we're seeing a lot of power coming out of the NZ teams. So while there is big road cycling communities in New Zealand, they will be, of course, concentrated to, well, maybe not, of course, maybe this is new information to you, concentrated to roughly the 4 or 5 major cities. Most New Zealanders, however, and this is something that I experienced firsthand when I lived there for almost a year, will ride mountain bike, because the majority of cycling trails in New Zealand are going up and down and around the side of mountains. And so you will see fierce power from them, because New Zealanders are doing a lot of climbing. They'll do a lot of those very scary technical descents. I knew a lot of people when I lived in Queenstown who would do the Black Diamond and would go out their way to do the Black Diamond in Ben Lomond, going up Ben Lomond, the mountain. But you wouldn't catch me dead doing anything like that, because you wouldn't get me doing a technical descent. If you're a frequent viewer and listener, you know that any of those huge, very steep downhills, above 7%, let's say, anything that gets that free hub just smoking is just, to me, terrifying. So where are we at the moment? So NZ Bro, we have got Tom Collins now pulling on the front. Great tactic here. So you have your lead begin to pull at an excessive speed to begin to drop out to let the next rider take over. There are baked-in communication methods available. Oh, my apologies. In indieVelo that riders can use to communicate when they're getting tired, when they need to drop off, and when somebody else wishes to take over, having their turn as the engine pulling on the front. Or you can communicate through other methods. I know that with my team, West London VR, WLVR, we will often use Discord. So it looks like we're currently about neck and neck between NZ Bro and for OG ladies as well. So we've got Andres Beck here. Hungarian IC is a new and upcoming team with a vision to conquer the top stairs of Triple T by the end of 2023. Well, certainly doing a great job today out on the course, and we're actually following Hungarian IC right here. So we've got some three very powerful, very good Hungarian riders on course here. And certainly, I'm sure with Triple T hopefully continuing on indieVelo, we're going to see our three riders here, one of whom is Andres. Hopefully we'll see them really begin to level up, and we'll see them taking on these 40 plus kilometers an hour of the New Zealand team. Again, trained, I'm sure, in the fires of mountain biking up and down mountains, as most Kiwis are. So yeah, currently, a little bit of an edge going to NZ Bro right now, but OG ladies are certainly close behind. Neck and neck now between NZ Bro Wahine Toa and OG ladies. It's very close between all four teams on course today. So those metrics that you're seeing on the center left of our screen is distance remaining. Kenneth Opal, that's a familiar name to me. Also, having been on the RGT Cycling race series. Great to see you again, Kenneth. And OG ladies, a very good little pace line here. Anna Russell in one of the two teams here. Kat Haynes, all pulling it around. My apologies, Kevin Opal, not Kenneth. I'm getting confused with another one of the NZ Bro regulars. So OG ladies are certainly giving the NZ Bro teams run for their money. We're starting to see tempering of the effort in Wahine Toa here, but they've got a very good pace line. They'll be using that draft benefit to full advantage. Draft benefit is available here in indieVelo, and it is one of those ones where you will get a better benefit out of it on a direct drive. Smart Trainer, I know certainly with my Tax Flux 2, what happens is it actually feels a little bit easier, eases up the tension just a little bit when you get to the maximal amount of your available draft. And that is the closest that can be done indoors to simulate how that would feel in the real world when you're behind somebody and somebody else is taking that air resistance for you. Of course, it's not the same, but again, the closest simulation that can happen with current technology. I like this. We've got the tip of the spear here with Hungarian IC, a little three-man echelon, if you will. That's a good way for both riders to get maximal draft benefit behind our leader there, who is Daniel. And this is a good tempered effort. I'm sure that we're going to see Hungarian IC do a really good sprint, a really good finish line sprint at the end here. So we're watching Ruben here, pulling at 37.8, almost 38 kilometers an hour. Really great speed. And again, of course, the Kiwis are going to be pulling fast up one of the few climbs on this course. Kat Haynes from the UK pulling for OG ladies. So this appears to be the same climb, so I think they're very close once again. Oh yeah, half a K in it there, but only 100 meters or less than 100 meters in it between OG ladies and NZ Bro Wahine Toa. And here we go. Are they going to be bringing that ferocity of Taumei Tauanga to the climb? Seeing a pretty good climb here. Efforts are being tempered a little bit, and I think Wahine Toa are beginning to get ready for the sprints. Hungarian beginning to fall back a little bit, but there's only about half a K, 700 meters in it. I'm sure once they get up this small climb here, we're going to see some pushing on those crank arms, bleeding out every kilojoule of power. So we've got a great pace line there from indieVelo, the all genders team. On the downhill, very slight downhill, evening out into the flat now. But we're beginning to see those numbers peaking above 40 kilometers per hour once again. We're over halfway through our cumulative climbing there, as you can see on the top left of the screen. So 26 meters climbed so far. OG ladies, who are we following right now? We've got Lee Louie from the United States. I think perhaps our only North American contender out on track today. And here's where those downhills come in. It's enough of a downhill where even in real life, just a 1% you could pedal through it. And we're seeing those speeds peak as a result. Still quite neck and neck between Wahina Toa and OG ladies. But indieVelo is starting to break away, starting to push ahead. So we've got a breakaway from the front of Wahina Toa there, Emma Murray and Anna in one of two teams today. I think maybe communicating behind the scenes on which rider should push ahead as this downhill begins to even out to become the engine for the next couple of Ks or so. Great stuff, great communication. And here we go, so we've got Andres. I'm hoping that's pronounced Bensa. Daniel. Keeping very close together and working with each other clearly on how to remain evenly spaced. Really, really great work on the form there, guys. Wonderful stuff. And how are indieVelo getting on? So indieVelo again peaking above 40. So we're still on a downhill here. That's likely where we're seeing those peaking above 40. But certainly that speed and the power that they're able to put down and really bleed out through those crank arms is coming to bear. So we have just passed the halfway point. What are our times so far at the halfway point? We have indieVelo sitting at the top, 12 minutes and 36 seconds. OG ladies, 13 minutes and 42 seconds. Wahine Toa at 14 minutes and 1, and Hungarian indoor cycling at 15 minutes 26. So certainly there's a bit of a fight here between OG ladies and indieVelo, and it's pretty close as well between indieVelo, Wahina Toa and OG ladies. So we have just around 8 kilometers left to see what can happen. Oh, look at these speeds coming out of indieVelo. So we're evened out now into the flat, and we're still seeing that peak above 40. Absolutely phenomenal power there, or phenomenal speed, I should say. And as we're getting into the flats, we're seeing the power even peak above 250 watts on Stephen there. Wow, and then well into the 300s on Tom on the lead. So certainly phenomenal power coming to bear there. And that shows you how much easier the draft benefit makes it on the riders behind when we see that drop in power, with the riders still being able to hold that rear wheel, and therefore emulating how draft would work out in the real world too. OG Ladies here, looks like Anna Russell is communicating with Kat Haynes for a bit of a swap for who's going to be pulling on the front. A really good pace line here, evenly lined up for that draft benefit. So we've got just under 6 kilometers remaining. And so what you're seeing here with this 3D rendered world in indieVelo is the coastal loop. This can be rendered in anywhere between 1080p, or what's known as Full HD or FHD, 2.5K, which covers those mid-tier gaming laptops. So 2.5K being around about your 2500-ish, obviously pixels per inch. Dimension total. And then it goes all the way up to full 4K. But not only that, it has full 4K rendering. So Wahine Toa here, beginning to hit those big, powerful numbers again, breaking 40 kilometers an hour. We've got Anna Russell on the second of two teams here, really pushing ahead with her fellow countrymen in New Zealand. And speaking of countrymen, we jump over to Hungary, where Daniel is pulling on the front there. Got some great effort here. So what would normally be your, I guess, included OEM reflector that comes with your bicycle, in game here, this is your effort indicator. That's why you see that light beginning to change. Green is your optimal. And then it will go through the different colors. Red is telling you when you're overexerting. So it's a little bit different from other virtual cycling platforms where it's telling you about your wattage. But there we go. So NZ Bro, it looks like they're pulling very strong there right now. And yeah, they're really getting ahead. Well over a kilometer ahead of the nearest competition. So that fight, that duke out between NZ Bro and OG Ladies, it looks like at the moment it is swinging well in favor of NZ Bro. We've got Wayne there pulling very strong on the front, hitting that 45 kilometers per hour on a relative flat, if not a tiny incline. With 3 kilometers remaining. OG Ladies here, one of two teams for Anna Russell. Lee Louie, our only US rider on course today. And it looks like they're holding pretty strong there, putting in a good time. Swapping again for Anna to once again be pulling on the front. And Wahine Toa. So we've got 4 of our 5 riders here. It looks like somebody's been dropped a little bit. It looks like they're well over a second behind. But Emma is pulling on the front right now, putting in some solid effort. And I'm sure that rubber is smoking on the tarmac there. I would be remiss if I didn't mention that all of this wonderful vision mixing and the cameras that recorded all of these feeds is done virtually by Damon of ZMS Esports Studio, live out of London. We've got a Hungarian team here, keeping that nice kind of spearhead formation there to maximize both riders' draft benefit behind our lead there. Fantastic tactic. And a way to maximize the spread of that speed too when you're a 3-man team, I'm sure. But NZ Bro, look at that. We've got back to having a wonderfully formed pace line. And those power numbers too. On the back here, it's 250 watts. Like, that's just insane. I'm sure quads like an elephant on Wayne here. And Wahina Toa, it looks like we're getting into exertion territory, into anaerobic territory, as our riders are beginning to push to catch one another. And NZ Bro, look at that distance remaining. They are just eating that tarmac. I'm almost concerned that they just demolished their chains and like cracked their drivetrains with how hard they must have been going on their direct drive smart trainers, because this is a fierce effort. They're already in 900 meters remaining. These are clearly seasoned riders, and seasoned with riding with one another, both virtually and one would assume in the real world too. Hungarian IC, they are keeping that spearhead formation going nice and strong. We've got OG Ladies, it looks like that's Anna pulling on the front there. And Wahine Toa, it looks like our chasing rider has caught up with the rest of the pack there for Wahine Toa. My apologies, that was Kat Haynes pulling on the front there. Doing some very strong pulling there. NZ Bro, how long do we have? Oh, 300 meters, so come on guys. Get me cheering for some finish line sprints. Holding strong at around about what seems to be around about their 95% speed. And there's nothing wrong with that either, because if you've been cooking your cardio effort for that long, there's no shame in just keeping at that 95% and not really pushing it over 100 with that sprint. Great effort, guys. Certainly not one to be sniffed at. OG Ladies 1.7. It's neck and neck between the OG Ladies and NZ Bro Wahine Toa. And Hungarian here. Guys, as a new team, you are doing phenomenal effort. Fantastic stuff. And I'm sure as the weeks go on, we're going to see your speed climb, your power climb. Keep at it. This is fantastic stuff. So, OG Ladies and Wahine Toa being that bit more seasoned in this, they are at that point now where they're knowing that within the 1 to 2k remaining that they need to keep their formation nice and tight, and we're seeing their team reform into nice pace lines, and we're going to see hopefully some really good sprints here. 1k remaining, neck and neck at the moment. OG Ladies there, Anna Russell is pulling on the front. Ironically, Anna Russell competing with herself. And Emma Porter there pulling on the front again. So Emma Russell doing about 150. So again, really good example of that draft benefit and how that really saves you that wattage that you'd otherwise bleed out through the cranks. So getting into that nice good pace line, ready for this final effort. And so, where are we with this? Still neck and neck, half a K with both. Oh wowee, this is going to be a photo finish. So behind the scenes, off camera right now, I'm kind of plucking at my arm hair in anxiety of who's gonna grab this, who's gonna take it. So beginning to get those sprints out of Wahine Toa and out of OG Lady. Oh, I still can't guess who it's gonna be. Oh, by a hair, it's OG Ladies. There may have been just shy of a second in that. Fantastic stuff. Wonderful effort from both teams there. And Hungarian IC doing a great job with the spearhead formation, realizing that they need to maximize that draft benefit for only 3 riders. And that's certainly a tactic that we have used at WLVR when it's only been the 3 of us. Certainly when you have more, when you have an even number of riders, doing a pace line is going to be a lot more beneficial, maybe. But a spearhead is certainly a way to maximize that when you are in that odd number. So who is that pulling ahead there? Is that Daniel? No, that's Andres. Pulling to the front there. Starting to see that peaking of the numbers there. And as I guessed, holding something back. So here we go. This is where we're going to see them really do that sub 1K effort. Hopefully building up to a bit of a sprint. And thank you for commenting today, Andres. It is fantastic to hear from you. And I've enjoyed watching your effort out on the course today. So here we go. Sub 300. This is normally when I would begin sprinting. 300 and under. There we go. Great sprints, guys. Look at that, almost hitting 50. Fantastic sprints. Wonderful stuff. Well, so how did things change going into the finish? Did we see any upsets? Well, let's take a look. So NZ Bro just running away with the day there. That's almost 3 minutes. So that's 2 minutes 50 of a lead they had over OG Ladies. But OG Ladies really pulled that out the bag, and actually it looks like from the second halfway, that's a lesser time than the first halfway. So that's fantastic. Barely a shave of a second behind is NZ Bro Wahine Toa, and that was an incredible effort. And certainly nothing to be sniffed at from the new team here, Hungarian Indoor Cycling. Great first effort, guys, and keep pushing. We're going to see you climb that leaderboard. I have no doubt about it. Thank you for joining me today, and thank you for joining us at ZMS Esports Studio. You can try indieVelo for free. It's still on a closed beta trial. Go to the website, apply, and once you get approved, you'll be able to download and try it. It's a wonderful game, and one of few that has that full 4K video rendering. We'll be back tomorrow, and we'll be looking at Wahoo RGT, and we'll see you then. Have a wonderful day.
we had